No matter who you are or where you live, if your passion is hunting, then make your dreams come true. Join us on a great safari and adventure as we traverse 5 continents in search of world's finest hunting trophies. Join the best professional hunters in the world in search for the best trophy animals. You will experience unforgettable hunting adventures and international cultures that few people on Earth get to know. Share the thrill of the ultimate challenge to promote the sustained use of world's greatest renewable resources, wildlife conservation, and fair chase hunting. Feel the excitement, share the passion, join the experience of the ultimate adventure that this world has to offer. Let safari season take you there.
In today's episode, we will accompany a hunter from Canada, Alan. Together with Sonny, they would be hunting in the Danubian Plain, in the territories of a hunting reserve that stretches at an area of 13,000 hectares and covers parts of the forestry massifs of the Danubian Plain, South Dobruja and the northern Ludogorie extensions. The numerous well-maintained game cornfields provide the year-round food for almost all animals known in Bulgaria. Throughout the years, the population of the main hunting species increased, and that was the reason for acquiring exceptional red deer and fallow deer and boar trophies. Here, in these forests, annually several golden trophy deer are being acquired. This is Hunter and his guide's main goal, finding out and stalking at a suitable distance the noble animal. The catch is that Alan is a keen bow hunter and would try acquiring the trophy he has been dreaming of with an arrow. This assigns the hunting guide with the almost impossible task to get Alan at a distance of 30 to 50 meters. Yet shooting should take place in the open air because the shot, even through the smallest and thinnest branches, is doomed to the bow's failure. The hunting guide knows very well that they have to sneak in the forest at a distance of around 50 meters. The reason behind the dry leaves and noise every living creature makes when moving in the forest. Hence, the hunting guide's tactics is about making the deer come closer to them. While relying on his good imitating skills, soon the guide manages to mislead a deer. The noise of the roaring animal that is approaching makes the blood of everyone in the group boil with hunting fever. The deer drift away and we have to follow them. The distant roar is a perfect beacon to the hunting guide who guides us through the thick shrubs with his immaculate flair and the experience that was acquired thanks to the hundreds of stalkings in these forests. They were fast to move away. Our failure in chasing the roaring deer gets us in favorable position between the group in the forest and the male that had been escaping us in the last couple of days. Misled by the roars of the same group we've been following, the animal appears at the end of the cornfield, nearby the hunting hide, where we had suspended our chase. Alan didn't hesitate for a second and decided to use the carbine instead of waiting for the deer to disappear in the thick shrubs once again. The shot proved to be lethal and took the deer down at the 30th meter. Alan had acquired his first trophy red stag deer in Bulgaria.
That's our custom.
Send him on his way with some food. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you very much, sir.
Няма за какво. Много се радвам.
He's very happy.
Много се радвам.
Excited. Do you like your trophy?
Very much, very much.
You're number one, he said.
Oh, well, thank you.
Значи, много съм благодарен на животното, че ни излезе.
I'm exceptionally grateful to the animal, yet it showed up after the long 3-day stalking. It honored us with the chance to take it down. The hunter is happy too, but I'm the happiest because I managed to acquire in a manner worthy to me and the reserve a trophy for the honorable hunter we've been hunting with. Yes, this is true. We've been chasing it for 3 days. Today it was our fourth hunting day. Fourth hunting day. It came at 6 to 7 kilometers. It had been hiding quite stubbornly. It didn't want to show up in the open air by all means. We could only hear it going around, and that irritated us even more. Then our stubborn guide decided we would not let it slip away that day. So we chased it for how long? 6 to 7 kilometers. Then we arrived at that marvelous meadow and got onto the hunting hide. We decided it would pass by here, and we kept waiting for it. Yes, he was sure. He just knows his territory, knows the animal's habits. Having such a hunting guide is an incredible advantage. And it showed up there. From that left angle on the cornfield, it started roaring. Yet Al didn't give it the chance to show us what it was capable of because he took it down. The shot was very precise, and now we have a great trophy. Yes, I'm very happy that my ears didn't let me down to mix it up when chasing so many roaring animals. Thank you, Urson. I thank you.
This is the closest I'm ever going to come to getting an Olympic gold medal.
Hi, I'm Alan Burmacombe. I'm from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I had the privilege of coming here with Safari Seasons to Bulgaria to do some hunting. It's been an interesting 4 days. We haven't seen a lot of females, but we've heard a ton of males, but finally one came to the field and we were successful. I've had a great time and I'm looking forward to the rest of my trip.
The next hunting subject lives up in the mountains, and to Alan it would be almost impossible to stalk it with bow and arrow. So he undertook hunting the Balkan chamois with the clear idea that he would be hunting with carbine. But even that does not guarantee a hunter's success in that high mountainous hunt.
Just unbelievable, it all put together. Stefan had this thing exactly figured out, and we just came down here, and sometimes hunting is hard and sometimes you catch some breaks, and we've got some huge breaks here.
Hi, today I had the pleasure of going chamois hunting here in the Rhodope Mountains. Safari season arranged, and I've had a fantastic time. These mountains are just spectacular. We saw tons of game and had two of the best PHs I've ever had. They spotted quite a few chamois, and I was lucky enough to connect on one. I just can't say, we're up quite high, but they set a great pace coming up, and it was a fairly gradual walk, with a really good trail, and I've just enjoyed myself thoroughly today.
In addition to the golden trophy of red deer and Balkan goat, Alan was going back to Canada with a roebuck trophy that was acquired the same day along the road back to the hunting chalet. In the minutes to come, we will have the pleasure of accompanying one of the most famous hunters in the USA. Darron is famous not only for his own hunting achievements, but also for the fact that he has assisted in arranging the hunt for hundreds of hunters from North America. He is in Bulgaria to be hunting Balkan chamois, roebuck, and reindeer.
Yeah, we're here in Bulgaria hunting the Balkan chamois, and I don't know, you can probably see behind me there's a nice young male, probably about a 5-year-old male. He's going to be a nice trophy in about 5 years, but right now he's a little young.
After we did some trial shooting with the rifle at 100 meters, we're ready for the morning hunting outing in the mountain. As soon as our guide Nosko gets out of the car, he finds the miniature dots along the opposite mountainous slope. These are goats, and they are a lot.
This is our first morning of our Balkan chamois hunt here in Bulgaria, and our permit today is for a female chamois. Every year the government determines carrying capacity of the land. They look at past harvest data. They look at the current game populations along with the feed that's available. They determine how many of each sex should be taken out. So, as a trophy hunter, we're usually looking for a large male, maybe at or past the breeding stages. Equally important, though, is taking those females. That ultimately helps the overall general condition of the herd. So today we're going to leave our egos in the truck and try to take a female.
We haven't traveled 300 meters, and the first cautious goat takes a suspicious look at us. It's a handsome male, but it's out of our hunting plan. The male goats are forbidden during that period of the year. A young female with a baby. They are also beyond our goal we are after. There's at least 70 to 80 animals. The biggest problem with such an animal pileup is defining the female goat without a baby. With so many animals out there, it's almost impossible to define the couples. It would be the best if the goats are scattered. Then the couples get easily visible and the lonely females stand out like a black soot on fresh snow.
Oh, we got up here near the top. There's a group maybe about 35. Over here to our left behind is about 600 yards. Then up to our right, there was a smaller group of about 15. The smaller group had a lot of mothers and babies, and obviously we don't want to disturb them. What we're really looking for is a female without a young one, and maybe past her breeding stage. So that's what we're going to focus on, this larger group, and hopefully we can pick something out. But like I said, they're about 600 yards, so we're going to give them a chance to settle down, and we're going to try to ease up on there and get a closer look at them.
It's difficult, even to the most experienced guides, to guess the goats with the babies and the ones without. Hence, Nosko decides to approach them even closer. In addition to getting us closer to the herd, our careful waiting session aims at scattering the animals a bit. The females with the babies would remain in the dense group because their instinct tells them so, while the lonely former mothers would try drifting away from us. The distance doesn't bother us because Darron could take a fly on the go from 300 meters down. The most important thing is not to make a mistake. We would be shooting only when Nosko is sure that he has found the old animal we're here for.
Alright, well, we closed the gap on this bigger herd up here, about 300 yards. And they've all been eased up over the top of the mountain. Over the top is sheer cliffs, and they kind of congregate down there. Well, if we make it up there, it'll be easy to find them, and the problem is we can't shoot one because we won't be able to retrieve it. So what we're going to do is we're going to ease back up there, get close to the top, kind of keep an eye on them, and our guide says that eventually they'll kind of work their way back and start feeding again, so that's the plan. Another issue we're having is that there's so many females and young ones in here that we can't differentiate between what's a mother and what's not. So we want them to kind of separate a little bit. And another point is that we're looking for a female that's got sap on her horns. And our guide says that, when they get to a certain age, they'll start rubbing on these trees. And that's a good indicator that it's an old, mature female. Then if we can find one like that, keep an eye on her, see if she's got a young one with her. If she doesn't, then, that'll be a possibility.
Yet, our plan has failed. Chamois didn't want to get back down the ridge to the lush meadows from which we climbed. They just vanished into thin air when we made it to the top. Only the fresh experiments showed goats were here at some time before. There was nothing we could do but head on our way back down the steep slope to our car. After the pleasant evening spent in a hotel, abundantly soaked with red wine, we were heading for a calm sleep in the cozy hotel. The next morning, even before the first sun rays had colored the mountain peaks in gold, we were already climbing the well-known pathway. It took only one shot in the early morning hours by the precise shooter, and Darron was already praised with a unique trophy.
You shot through the bush? Yeah, because there is a bush in front of it.
So, I mean, I could have deflected a little bit.
Well, we were fortunate enough this morning to harvest this nice female. This is the same female we were watching last night at about 450 yards. It was just too dark. Didn't feel comfortable for a good shot. And it was just kind of ironic. We came up here this morning and she was the first animal we saw. So it's a good harvest out of the herd, 10-year-old female. She's probably near the end of her breeding stages. And it was an animal that the local hunting community wanted to take out of the herd. So we're very happy, and we're just really excited. Been a great hunt.
After the successful hunting of the Balkan chamois, we would follow the American hunter in his hunting attempt to shoot down a big red deer. The hunting application that every hunter who goes hunting in Bulgaria should fill in before the hunting contains lots of information. But the most important one is the approximate size of the desired trophy. Darron had put down in his application the trophy could be without limitations, without an upper limit, meaning we would attend an exceptionally rare hunting of huge trophy animals, what Bulgaria became famous for in the last 50 years. Let us remind the ignorant ones that in Bulgaria the world record of red stag trophy got shot down, with an evaluation of 273.6 points under CIC and a weight of 16.2 kilograms. The country has 15 trophies with an evaluation that exceeds 250 points under CIC. 10 of the first 20 trophies in the world are Bulgarian. Normally, we could see the trophy animals whose horns weigh from 7 to 14 kilograms, but in several years' time, some lucky guy encounters larger animals. Darron would like to be among these lucky guys, and he will try shooting down a red stag whose antlers weigh around 14 kilos. This is the upper realistic borderline of the trophies acquired in that hunting territory, but one could never be sure whether a larger trophy would show up. At only 30 kilometers away from here, the current world record got shot down. We could not believe our luck. On the very first hunting day, we encounter the red deer that weighs almost 13 kilos. The trophy is great, and Darron is full of burning passion and desire to shoot the great trophy animal down. The hunter's doubts are only about whether he would not be able to find a larger trophy animal. The thick and massive antlers show the animal is very old, but the upper spikes are not among the longest. This accelerates the hunter and hunting guide's doubt, and the deer is left in peace to take a look at us. Attracted by the bass roar coming from the forest somewhere behind us, the deer is ready to approach further the suspicious shadows in front of it. After we didn't provide a worthy reply to its calling for a duel, the noble animal decided we were not worthy opponents, turned its back and moved away in a majestic manner. A boar pack appears from the forest. While following the distant deer roaring, we were hoping to find some mating grounds with large trophy animals, but wild boars showed up on our path. We didn't have much choice. We either had to wait for the boars to move away by themselves, or we had to give up on the direction in which we were going. The wind was favorable, but should we scare the boars, they were going to head straight towards the deer, and stalking it would have turned impossible. The slight wind gusts were carrying us straight towards the typical wild boar smell. They could neither sense our presence, nor see us, nor smell us, so we patiently waited for them to pass us by. Our patience was almost running out after we'd been watching for a quarter an hour the boars carefully checking out each centimeter of leaves fallen on the ground for acorns, or for truffles. The region in which we'd been hunting was famous for the abundant truffle quantities. Except for their eyesight, their senses are very well developed. Thanks to its sense of smell, the wild boar has earned itself the image of the best truffle searcher in Italy and France. The wild boar body is elongated and slightly flattened laterally, so that it could sneak through the thickly interwoven forest shrubs. In view of its geographic location, the type and weight of the animals, whereas in Italy the species goes up to 80 to 100 kilograms, in the countries of Eastern Europe and Asia some animals exceed 300 kilograms. Their continuously growing tusks serve them as weapon and instrument for digging out food. The lower teeth of the adult animals are around 20 centimeters long, but trophies have been registered with over 30 centimeters teeth that we've shown you. Not only the males are equipped with the dangerous weapon, but the elderly females as well. Even though in their case the teeth are not that big, while following their motherly instinct, they are the most dangerous opponents. While we were waiting for the pigs to move away, the sun lifted up high and the deer withdrew deep inside the forest, and we have to follow them. We continue our march through the forest trying to define the biggest animal by the bass nuances of its roar. Tens of deer have chosen this part of the forest for their mating ground. The place where mature stags take up their chosen territory. This is the open area preferred by them in the forest habitats. Their mating calling is a fearful roar that resounds the forest for kilometers. The females move among the stags and choose their mating partner. Soon, every male makes up his harem. Most often the adult and powerful males gather groups of 5 to 6, and sometimes of many more hinds. In normal circumstances, young deer are not allowed to mate. They get chased away from the mating grounds even before the females start choosing their partners. The youth go around the mating grounds, try to starting duels, and get chased away by the experienced fighters with thunder-like roar and threatening plowing with antlers. This happens every year until a youth gets old enough and piles up enough muscle mass and more deviations of their antlers to be able to win over the old stag and conquer its harem. Mating fights are an unforgettable sight, and the hunters that witness some of them keep telling about them for years. At present, we were not that lucky. The fights, should there be such today, were happening somewhere else. Only the chased young stags were making it to us. The animals were obviously unexperienced and quite frightened. Some of the locations attracting the stags are the cornfields with sunflowers. The high stems were entirely covering the wild animals from unwanted looks, and the sunflower heads full of seeds were good food stock. A pheasant with its cries showed us the location from where it got chased away by the deer. We decided to carefully approach the forest where the animal was supposed to be hiding, after it almost stamped the blatant birds. Acquiring a 13 to 14 kilo deer is not an easy thing to do. Such a nice trophy was a great challenge and honor to the hunter and the hunting guide. Such an animal had spent at least 10 to 12 years in the forest under the constant menace presented by poachers' weapons. For sure, this animal was supposed to be experienced enough to avoid most threats, but we were hoping it would not be clever and careful enough to avoid us. The days were dragging and the active mating period was approaching its end. The weather was changing as well, and from sunny and warm it had become cool and rainy. The hunter was thinking more and more often about the missed chance he got as soon as on the first hunting day. The red deer can be seen in Europe, Asia, North Africa, and South and North America. Additionally, it got adapted in New Zealand, but there the species is genetically degenerated. In Bulgaria, in the beginning of the 30s of the past century, it got almost extinct. Only 2 deposits are preserved, in Stara Planina and Rila. Its population was recovered by the reacclimatization means in all our mountains and the plain forest of Dobruja and Ludogorje. Usually, deer coloring is red-brownish in the summer to merge with the dried leaves that grow darker, and during the winter it is gray-brownish to be able to hide in the snow. The male changes its antlers every year, from March until the end of April. The 1-year-olds have very small and very underdeveloped antlers, when with one, not more than 2 deviations, and during the second year they could turn to 6. As they age, the antlers grow bigger, more powerful, and deviated. They achieve their maximum in the 10th year, when the deviations get to 24 or more, being the optimal age for shooting down nice trophies. When the animal starts aging, antlers dimensions decrease. Nevertheless, their thickness increases and their mass drastically accumulates during the first 1 or 2 years after the heyday of their growth. Many European hunters believe an old and even elderly animal left with almost no deviations to be the supreme trophy. After a nearly 1-week search, we finally encounter once again a trophy that probably approximates the one we missed on the first hunting day here. Autumn already has total prevalence above summer, and the deer have stopped roaring. Here comes Darron's last hunting day. The chance of finding a huge trophy animal is almost zero, but hope is the last to die. The roebuck is disseminated in Europe and North America. One cannot see it in the northernmost parts of Scandinavia and Russia. In Bulgaria, you could see it everywhere. It inhabits the open spaces covered with shrubs and small forests, as well as mountains to the upper forest limit. The roe deer has the richest food spectrum among all deer animals. The ones that matter the most to its natural feeding in the forest habitats are the blueberry, blackberry, and cereals. Here in the plains, the hind prefers the lucerne blocks and autumn crops where it finds sufficient, abundant, and nutritious food. The food it feeds on is mainly of forest origin, so it inflicts the greatest damage to the forest plantations, especially in the cases of overpopulated territories. The unexpected meeting at the pathway reminds us of our first hunting day and the ill-fated decision to miss that great trophy. The wild boar is an exceptionally shrewd animal. It's gifted with an exceptional sense of smell and sharp hearing that make it a worthy opponent of the hunter, and oftentimes the hunting chess game ends up in his favor during driven hunts, as well as during the individual hunt. It seems boars have a sixth sense of whatever human facing them is going hunting for boars or something else. As you would see in a while, the boars wait for the hunter to start moving, to decide on their escape route. Hinds mating happens during the summer, so we are outside their active season, but the frequent encounters evidence the whole region is overpopulated. The roebuck chooses some smooth meadow in the forest and marks it via rubbing its antlers and its specific smell, as well as typical mating calling. The roebuck's roar is totally different from the deer one. This is a one-time growling that is repeated at different time intervals. Hinds do not take part in harems. The female is monogamous and remains with the roebuck it has chosen. Its chosen one fertilizes it after continuous chase around some shrub, tree, or rock. The chasing goes on in ellipse, and it is so long that the location gets clearly marked circles on the ground. These circles are the reason behind the occurrence of superstitions and beliefs amongst the locals in supernatural forces. They call this phenomenon wood nymph circles. Should the roebuck succeed in catching up with the female, it conquers her, and if not, she abandons it and goes looking for a stronger roebuck. This is the way natural selection works in the case of roe, without bloody mating rituals for eliminating the weak and sick animals, the way it is in the case of red deer. The day is approaching its end, and this is probably our guest's last stalking. So that he does not have to go away empty-handed, the guide allowed the hunter to take down a selection deer, an animal without the necessary trophy qualities that have to be taken out of the procreation circle. Darron wants to achieve what he had come here for in Bulgaria, in the heaven of wild gigantic red stag, and he would be our guest once again, with and in safari season. Maybe next year.
Let me be your company. Feel the excitement, feel the danger, share the adventure here.